Hello, everybody. I want to share with you a quick recap of the training that we had back on August 6th. And so this is for everybody that missed it or if anybody wants a refresher. So you're going to want to open up the documents or print out the documents that are in the email. If you want hard copies, I'm happy to print those and give those to you if you don't have a printer at home. So we're going to start with this one that says 2025 Student Ministries Fall Training.
Just dropped everything.
So our mission statement with Student Ministries is we are building a transformational community of middle and high school students by growing in love with Christ and all people. That we want to create an environment at youth group where it's transformational. That middle school and high school students would walk into this environment and they'd experience the love and the care of Jesus. And then that would help them to be transformed from the inside out and how they love and they care for the people around them. So we're going to do that whenever we're here on Wednesday nights. We're going to do that when we're here on Sunday mornings. We're going to do that when we bump into kids at sporting events and things like that, that we want to think in the back of our mind, we are trying to create a transformational community for these students. Our vision statement is that every person matters, that we believe every one of these students matters. So when we see one of them sitting by themselves, we see them off in the corner, we want to go over and go towards them, connect with them, just let them know that they're seen, that we noticed them. Encourage them to play a game with you, encourage them to come over and sit and talk with you, maybe in the middle of the room where there's more interaction and more people you can connect them to. You might even think about getting one of your small group boys or girls and saying, hey, let's go talk to that person. Why don't you come with me? And go introduce them to that student that's in the corner. The second thing I want to talk to you about is the schedule for the years. That's what's here on this document that has the color. The main thing is that our kickoff is August 20th, which probably will have already happened by the time you see this video, but we'll start Wednesday nights after that. That it's a regular rhythm for us on Wednesday nights. October 22nd is when we're going to have our small group parties, and so we're going to start talking about that on the October 1st. And I'll talk to you more about small group parties and some little tweaks we want to do with that. Then October 24th and 25th is the middle school retreat. And so it's about 27, 28 hours worth of interaction with students, which is awesome because that means it's about 20 nights worth of youth group that you can connect with the students. And so I'd love for you to come if you have the ability. We're going to be at Timberlake over by Central City. And so it's going to be an easy one night, and I hope that it will be a great moment for us to build relationships, build trust, build camaraderie with the students, and really help set the tone and the environment for the rest of the year. So we'd love for you to be part of that, if that's something that will fit in your schedule. If it doesn't, that's okay, but would love for, if you know you want to do this, let me know please, so that we can make this possible. And then next thing I want to point out here is that we will not meet on November 26th, December 17th, 24th, and 31st. Now, December 17th, we're going to have a small group leader Christmas party, so please put that on your calendar. December 17th, we'll be together for an hour and a half, 2 hours to eat some good food and then play some games, have some good time together as leaders. So please put that on your calendars, December 17th. And then March 18th is when we're planning to do the spring small group party, and we won't have youth group on the 25th. That's KPS spring break. And then our last night of youth group will be on April 29th of the school year version. So that's there. And then July 13 through 17 is challenge. And so if you're a high school leader that's interested in going to challenge, or you're a middle school leader that you're like, I'd be willing to go and connect with high school students, we'd love for you to be part of that. Let me know. Would like to get you plugged in there. So that is our schedule for the year. If you have questions about that, please let me know. So the small group parties, one of the changes that I want to make to the small group parties is I would love for you to come the night of October 1st with two options. I think best would be a food option and then an activity option. So just for example, you would say, okay, we're going to go to Pizza Ranch and we're going to go eat pizza at Pizza Ranch. That's one option. Or option two is we're going to meet at the church and we're going to play board games, or we're going to play video games, or we're going to play outside on the playground, or basketball or football, or we're going to roast marshmallows. That you have one of those two options. You have those two options, and then on October 1st, you would give them to your group and say, which one of these two do you want to do? We're going to make a decision tonight with who's here. And then once that decision is made, you would let me know. And then between October 1st and October 8th, I'll make all of you guys invitations. They won't be fancy. They'll just be simple, that have the time and the date and the place and what you're going to do. And then you can give that to your students the next 2 weeks. So my hope is that everybody in your group would have a clear understanding of what they are doing on October 22nd when you go. And then most importantly, it wouldn't eat up all of your small group time. Because my biggest concern is that your small group time is getting consumed in these 3 or 4 weeks by trying to decide what are we going to do on our small group party. And that's never been the goal. The goal is to give you guys an opportunity for some fun, opportunity for connection, to build some trust, and for them to see you in a different environment. But my goal is not for that to drag on for multiple weeks. And so hopefully if we come with 2 options, you can give those to your group and then go from there. If you have questions about that, please let me know. Just some quick reminders for you. The middle school parties, they need to be in public places. The church is public, restaurants, parks, those things are all public. But the families seem to feel more comfortable if they're dropping off their kids in public locations instead of at a leader's house. That hopefully maybe we can work towards that, build trust and understanding with the families. I trust all of you, but they just don't have the same relationship that I have. Also want to remind you that the church is happy to cover your cost for anything that happens. So we can pay for your meal, we can pay for laser tag if you do laser tag or bowling or something like that. And then if any of your students say, hey, I would love to do laser tag, I just can't afford it, we would be happy to cover the cost for that. So we can work out, if you're willing to pay, then we can reimburse you. If we need to figure out how to do it ahead of time, we can do that as well. So that's what we're planning to do. And then also, I don't necessarily have all of the kids' phone numbers and things. And so it's best if we can hand them the invitations. So please, let me know the details. I'll make you invitations so you can give those to them. So that's small group parties. Please let me know if you have questions about that. The next thing is, at the beginning of September, I'm going to be giving your groups a small group covenant. And so this is just a simple document that gives a few outlines of things that you want to be committed to as a small group. Things like confidentiality, that we're going to keep what's shared here confidential to our group, with the exception if someone says they're going to hurt themselves, someone is hurting them, or they're going to go hurt somebody else. Then if that gets shared, then we're going to share that with who needs to hear it, because we care about them and we don't want them to suffer in silence, or for them to continue to be in a situation where they are getting mistreated or something like that. But you can add things like, we're going to listen when other people are talking. We're going to not be disrespectful. We're going to commit to be here as much as we can, because it really affects the group if there's only 2 people here instead of 6 people or 5 people or whatever it is. And so really think through, what is it that you guys want to commit as a group? It doesn't all have to come from you. You can ask the kids, what do they want to add into this? How do they want to be treated and respected by one another? But put that in there. And then once you fill it out and you have your group members sign it, I don't need it back. It's for you to be able to pull out if you need to and say, hey guys, we talked about this. We weren't going to waste each other's time. And so I need you guys to be more engaged. I need you guys to stop having side conversations. We agreed that we were going to do this. So please help me in this way. So you can fold it up, put it in your Bible. You can take a photo of it and leave it on your phone. But I don't need it back. It's yours. It's a tool for you to be able to use. We are going to use again this year the Take 10 questions. So those questions are, how did you see God at work in your life this week? And we're really just trying to help them think through, where's God working in your life? So God is working in all of our lives every week. He doesn't take a day off. And so we just want to be aware of, what is he doing this week? And this question helps them to think through and really pause to reflect on, where has he been at work? Second question is, what has God been teaching you in his word? That might be through them reading the Bible. It might be through Wednesday night youth group, or through Sunday morning, or it might be through the verse of the day or interactions they've had with other people that are talking to them about the Bible. But what is it that God's been teaching you in his word? And with that, you can bring it back to the lesson we had that night, or maybe the lesson before, and say, well, you were here last week. What do you feel like God taught you through last week? Or what do you feel like he's teaching you through tonight? that those are ways that you can help them to understand that the Bible is relevant to their life right here and now. It's not just a list of facts that we want to memorize or a list of rules that we want to get down. It is really how we interact with God and how God can speak to us. Question 3 is, what are you talking about with your friends who don't know Jesus? We want to just think about, what are they talking about? It could be good things. It could be bad things. It could be things that they need to limit. It could be things that they could celebrate. But we want to just know and to think about, what is it they talk about with their friends who don't know Jesus? And then 4, who did you serve last week and who can you serve this week? That Jesus, he came to serve, and as his followers, we should be coming to serve in people's lives. And so just think about, where is one area I can serve this week? It could be in a classroom, could be in my home, could be on a team, but how can I serve this week? And then that's an opportunity for you to pause and to say, hey, I'm going to ask you next week. You said you're going to serve your mom. So just next week, I'm going to just check in with you and say, hey, how did it go serving your mom this week? And you might put a reminder in your watch or on your phone, or just make a note in maybe a notebook. And we're happy to get you simple notebooks if you want to keep prayer requests. But you can write those things down, and then next week you can open it up and say, hey, Sophia, you said you were going to serve your mom this week. How did that go? And if she says, oh, I forgot, then you can say, hey, what can you do this week to remember? Do you need to make a note, take a sticky note and put it by your bed? Like, what can you do? We just want to encourage them. And the reason we're doing this is not to discourage them or anything like that. It's really to encourage them that actions bring about change. Good intentions don't bring about change. It's actions that lead to change. And so we're just trying to encourage them in that. Question 5 is, have you had any opportunities to share the good news with someone who doesn't know Jesus? Who are you praying to have opportunities with? And so we just want to encourage, one, if any of our kids shared Jesus with someone, we want to celebrate that. Whether that person came to believe or not, just the fact that our students shared Jesus is huge. And so we want to celebrate that with them. But then also the students that haven't, we want them just to be thinking about, who is it you're praying for an opportunity to share Jesus with? Because he's foundational to our lives. He's so important to us. And so we should want to share him with others. And so we should be asking God, would you give me an opportunity to share with them? Number 6, how can we pray for you, and what do you want us to ask you about next week? How can we pray for you, and what do you want us to ask you about next week? That what can we do to pray? And we always ask that every week. But then sometimes we might say, hey, what is there that you're committing to this week that you want us to check in with you next week, is really what we're saying there. So we don't ask all 6 of those questions in one week. I choose one of them and I choose one and plug it in with the rest of the small group questions that we're asking. And these are just questions that help us to stay focused on the mission of living with Jesus on his mission. That it's so easy to get stuck in the whirlwind of life and forget about these things. And so these are simple questions that remind us to be on mission with Jesus this week. So I have another video that I'll link in this video if you want to get a deeper dive in that. And then for high school, we're going to have some of our students lead the groups and have leaders come alongside and be support to them. So this is mostly our seniors and our juniors, with the freshmen and the sophomores. It's going to be less so. But if you're leading a senior group, I'd encourage you to look for ways that you can let them lead, maybe 2 to 3 or 4 times a month, that you would give them the questions and say, hey, I want you to try asking the questions, and I want you to try leading the group tonight. Would you be willing to do that? And then I'll jump in and help if it feels like you're getting stuck or if you guys are getting off track. I'll help you, but I want you to have the opportunity to lead and to guide and to see how this goes for you. Because we just want to give the kids an opportunity to have some leadership, but also to test to see, do we have the gift of being a leader? Is this something that might be really beneficial for them as they continue on in their faith journey, to look for opportunities to be a small group leader, whether that's with student ministries, whether that's with some other area of ministry. And so if it's seniors, I'd encourage you 3 to 4 times a month. If you're juniors, you might be 2 to 3 times a month. If you're sophomores, it might be 1 or 2 times a month. Freshmen, 1 or 2 times a month. It kind of depends on your group, depends on the guys and girls you have and what level of ability they have. But just search out and see, is there anybody that's interested in this, that wants to grow in this? And then we're going to just be flexible with this and just practice this and try this throughout the course of the year and see how it goes. Middle school, we're not going to necessarily put them in charge of anything, but you can give them an opportunity to lead certain parts from time to time, where you could say, hey, why don't you ask this question and you lead this question? Or why don't you take the prayer request this week and lead that time? And so as students have the format down for how they do those things, then you can give them the opportunity to do it and see how it goes. That we want to give them opportunities to grow, opportunities to try those things. Couple other things here. We want to try and spread out in large group time. That I know it's tempting to all hang out at the back, especially because most of us come in at the end after all the kids have got in. Especially in middle school though, I want to encourage you guys to spread out, that we can do a lot of crowd control just by interdispersing ourselves evenly throughout the group. And as we do that, kids feel like they're less able to get away with things. And so I encourage you to spread out. And if kids have already filled up the row, you have the ability and you have the authority to come up to that group and say, hey, I want you to scoot that way. I want to sit right here, and to make a little bit of room and say, hey, yeah, just grab a chair, add it to the end. We can all still get everybody in here, but I'm going to sit in the middle here. And so feel free to do that. We can absolutely do that. And then the last thing here is this Student Ministries Small Group Leader contract. And contract's a big word, but it's really just, these are the expectations we have for all of our leaders. And so I just want to reaffirm those. And then if you want to sign this, if you're committed to being with us this year, that would be awesome. So the first thing is we want you to be in a growing relationship with Jesus Christ. But that's the number one thing we want to give to the students. And so if you're not in a growing relationship with Jesus, then we can have you help with snacks. We can have you kind of do some other things. But really, that's the most important thing we want to give the students. And so if you don't have it, that's really not something that you can give. But I think all of you are there. 2, we want you to be willing to co-lead with your small group leader. My goal is to get 2 leaders in every group. We're continuing to recruit, continuing to try and find more leaders to help out. But we want you to be willing to say, yes, I will co-lead. I will have someone help me with this. Number 3, we need you to come 15 minutes before youth group starts and be willing to stay 15 minutes after it ends. I know especially with 6:15 for the middle school, that can be really tricky. And so if you can't be here right at 6:15, please come just as soon as you can. The more leaders we have here, the earlier, the better we can greet kids, the better we can maintain the environment, the better we can get a start on snacks and all that kind of stuff. So please do your best. And then staying 15 minutes afterwards, it's really to connect with students as they're waiting to get picked up. That we want to create an environment where students feel safe, but also maybe 3 or 4 of your girls or guys leave right away and you have 2 students left. And so you can have a really good conversation with those 2 students while they're waiting to get picked up. Or maybe it's 1 student. They'll share stuff with you in that environment they wouldn't share maybe the large group. And so we want to make the most of that. And then also it just conveys to the kids, I'm here for you. I'm not leaving as soon as youth group is done. But if all of your kids walk out the door, they get in their car or they get in mom and dad's car and they leave right away, you can leave. You don't need to stay 15 more minutes. And then also if you have a student that mom decided or dad decided to go to Walmart and do grocery shopping and they're like, yeah, my mom's not going to be here until 8:15, you can leave at 8. You do not need to wait any longer than 8. We tell parents we'll give supervision for 15 minutes afterwards. And so we have a security person that kind of also monitors things, but we tell mom and dad, we provide supervision until then. And then after that, it's up to them to come get them in a timely manner. So 8:15 is, or not, so 15 minutes afterwards, which is 8 o'clock for middle school and 9:15 for high school. We also want you to commit to be consistently here at youth group throughout the course of the school year. We do have a Christmas break over Christmas, and then we do have a couple nights here and there that we miss. But the main thing is that you just make this a priority. That even if you're someone that would say, because of my job, I have to miss, a significant amount, maybe once or twice a month, I still want you to be part of our team, and I'll just make sure to partner you with someone that can be here on a consistent basis. But even if you're gone, twice a month, just let the kids know. I travel for work, I want to help, I want to be here, but there are nights I just can't be here. And they'll get that, they'll understand that, and as long as they have a leader that they can connect with primarily, that'll be helpful. But I want you to be part of our group. You can still provide a very crucial role, but it just has to be a priority to us. And then if you are going to miss, would you tell me so I know you're not going to be here and I can plan accordingly? And then if you have a co-leader, please let them know as well so that they know you're not going to be here and they can plan to lead the group. Also, I need you to be willing to enforce the rules for small group. These things are like you have to stand up when we sing and face the stage. You can't be a distraction to the people around you. You shouldn't be talking or playing on your phone. They should be put away for middle school. That we want to all be on the same page with this. And so the more that we do this well as a group and a collective and individuals, the better it benefits everybody. We also want you to be willing to maintain the environment of order in your small groups. And we're going to be flexible about this. Like I understand they're middle school kids, they have a level of chaos. But if you would do your best to maintain that environment, especially in shared spaces, it really affects the other groups. If your group's going crazy, then it's affecting their groups. And so we just all want to work together to maintain the environment in each of our groups. And then if you have an issue with me or another leader, would you follow the Matthew 18 course of action? Which means that if you have an issue with another leader, you would first go to them and say, hey, this is what happened. Can we work through this? And then hopefully that can resolve it. But if it doesn't, then you can get another person involved. You can come to me and say, hey, Jordan, I went and talked to this person. This is what happened. And it's not resolved. Can you help me? And then we can get involved there. And then if the three of us can't figure it out, then we can bring in more people from there. But if you would follow that course of action, that would be really helpful for us as a group. And then finally, would you come prepared for youth group, which really just means reading the email that I send out, mostly on Wednesdays. My goal is to get it out on Tuesdays, but truthfully, it doesn't always, but it mostly goes out on Wednesdays. But if you read that before you come to youth group, that'll give you a good idea of what we're going to do that night, of what the main idea of my message is, and the small group questions. If you just read through that really quickly, it should probably take you less than 5 minutes. You'll be ready to go. And then also if I need extra help in some way, I convey that in the email. And so you'll be ready for that. So that's everything. So I have hard copies of this. If you are someone that says, I am ready to commit, I want to be part of this, please get the hard copy for me, sign it, and then give it back to me. And then we're all good to go. So if you have any questions about middle school ministry, high school ministry, something I didn't cover in the video, please let me know. I'd be happy to try and get that answered for you. Thanks for taking the time to watch this, and I'm excited for this year of ministry. Thanks for being part of our team.